Welcome to my YouTube channel, Mark at A Matter of Truth. All of my Bible teaching songs are based upon my sound biblical Bible studies on my website at thechurchofthefirstborn.net.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're objectively unpacking a really fascinating text, a biblical Unitarian study authored by Brother Mark that basically attempts to completely flip our understanding of one of the most debated verses out there, Colossians 1:17. You know, for centuries, this specific verse has served as a massive foundational pillar for mainstream Christian theology. It's often used as the ultimate proof text for the origins of the universe and the very nature of God. So whether you're deeply familiar with these theological doctrines or just fascinated by the sheer mechanics of ancient text translations, this study provides a really unique lens on how shifting just a few ancient words can completely alter an entire cosmic worldview. Okay, here's our roadmap for today. We are going to cover 1. The verse in question, 2. Challenging the translation, 3. The firstborn of creation, 4. The biblical Unitarian view, and finally 5. God's grand purpose. Let's dive right in. Section 1. The verse in question. We've got to start our forensic investigation exactly where the source material does, with the traditional, mainstream text most of us probably already recognize. Colossians 1:17 in the Standard King James Version reads, "And he is before all things, and by him all things consist." Now, mainstream Christian tradition uses this verse to teach that Jesus pre-existed in eternity past and literally holds the physical universe together. The idea is that the phrase, "by him all things consist," means he's the cosmic glue, right? The underlying physics keeping planets in orbit and atomic structures from just flying apart. But the author of our study immediately hits us with a barrage of Socratic questions. Instead of just nodding along with that traditional interpretation, the text pushes us to ask some really profound things. Did the Son of God actually have a beginning? Was Jesus born, or was he created in eternity past? Are we fundamentally misunderstanding his origins here? And he pushes even further into the physical mechanics of the universe, as presented in that mainstream view. Were all things truly created by the Son of God? Does the physical universe literally consist or hold together by Jesus? The author suggests that if we don't look much closer at the original languages, we might be taking a profound spiritual concept and totally misunderstanding it by turning it into a basic physics lesson. Section 2. Challenging the translation. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. The author argues that translation biases, rather than the original text itself, have actually created these mainstream doctrines. When you line up the standard King James Version with a strict, literal Greek translation, a massive discrepancy suddenly pops up. The word things, as in all things, isn't actually in the original Greek text at all. It was added. Take it out, and the literal translation actually reads, "In him the all are set together." That seemingly tiny shift completely changes the subject of the verse, from physical objects floating out in the universe to a specific group of people. The author grounds this massive theological pivot in the literal definition of the original Greek root word, sunisteo. In the dictionary, this word means to set together, to approve, to constitute, or to introduce favorably. Think about translating an ancient business contract and accidentally swapping building a company with building a literal physical house. That is the exact scale of the error the author is claiming happened here. Sunisteo means to set a group together or approve them, not to hold atomic structures and galaxies intact. So what does this actually mean for the text? Well, according to the study, to be in Jesus means believers are reconciled to be found favorably by God. They're constituted as part of the church body, commended and fit together to stand as one united front. It's a framework about the spiritual unity of a church, not a divine physics lesson about the physical sustenance of the galaxy. Section 3. The firstborn of creation. The study leverages Hebrews chapter 2 to argue that Jesus actually didn't exist in eternity past at all. Instead, he is the captain, the forerunner. According to this deeply rooted biblical Unitarian view, Jesus was the very first human being to be made completely perfect by God through suffering. And why does this matter? Because as the firstborn of many brethren, he's the first to be granted immortality so that he can pioneer the way to bring many other human sons to glory. Moving right along to Section 4, the biblical Unitarian view. Mainstream tradition teaches that Jesus had two natures, divine and human, at the exact same time during his life on earth. But the strict biblical Unitarian belief forcefully pushes back, arguing that while Jesus absolutely did have two natures, he held them sequentially, one after the other, literally never at the same time. And the author lays out a really distinct narrative timeline for the life of Christ to explain this. Jesus begins with a strictly human nature of flesh. He then endures the immense suffering and death of the cross. Because of that absolute obedience, he is highly exalted by his God, Yahweh. And finally, only after the resurrection is this purely human Jesus granted the divine nature of immortality, effectively becoming a deity. Which brings us to section 5, God's grand purpose. So, why do all this? The author posits that Almighty God had a highly specific mission in mind. Yahweh purposely created the human Son of Man to have dominion over God's works and empowered him specifically to still Yahweh's enemies. The grand design behind exalting this human was to wage a literal cosmic war, specifically to ultimately judge Satan and the fallen angels who rebelled against God's throne. The text puts it like this: He was made to become a Lord, a King, and a God, under and subject to his God and Father in order to judge Satan. The absolute cornerstone of this entire theology hinges on a single letter, A. He was made to become a Lord, a God, specifically tasked to judge Satan. This cements the claim that Jesus operates as a distinct, created entity, always strictly under the ultimate, supreme authority of his Father. It leaves us with a pretty heavy question. If translating a single ancient word differently, just removing the added English word things, can completely reshape a cosmic worldview, the nature of Christ, and a literal cosmic war, what else in the biblical text might we be reading through the lens of tradition rather than literal translation? I'll leave you to ponder that fascinating dynamic between ancient linguistics and modern doctrine. Regardless of where you stand on the theology, this study certainly invites us to look much closer at the text we think we already know perfectly. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and keep looking closely at the source.
Please read the in-depth Bible studies on my websites at AMatterOfTruth and the Church of the Firstborn.net. And if you like this Bible teaching song video, please share the link with others. Thanks for watching, and may God bless you richly for sharing the true gospel. Brother Mark.